Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Gez Perez. He's an author, motivational speaker, and high performance coach. I am so excited to have this conversation. I know it's going to be high energy and packed full of value. Welcome to the show, Gez.
Alicia, thank you so much for having me. It's such a great honor, and I'm grateful to be here and to add tons of value to your community. Super excited. So I just want to put a disclaimer here. I am very energetic. It's because I get excited about sharing insights, and I trust that today's podcast show, you get more out of it today.
I have to say that my guests who are professional speakers are so incredibly fun to listen to. But you're not just out there being fluffy.
Yes.
You're being practical, and you're helping move people.
Yes.
In a really significant and meaningful way in their lives and in their business. So let's start by talking about your business. Tell us about your business.
Yeah. So for me, Gez Perez, I help professionals, teams, and organizations get motivated without the hype. And that's just my main message is, no hype at all, but give them the tools that they need to scale at success and focus on purpose-driven outcomes. And that's my business model. And it comes into three principles, which is the mindset, the skill set, and then the execution, but taking the right strategy of action, because you can take as many actions as you can, but then you miss the aim, you miss the target. And I'm a podcaster myself, and a motivational speaker for over 15 years and a high performance coach. And it's all about results driven outcome. And I always tailor it around purpose. And that's one of the guiding principles of the Thrive method. And I'll share that today as well. And so my business is centered around that and helping professionals, whichever industry may be in. And there are three problems that people experience as either it's a professional entrepreneur as well, service-based entrepreneur, but there are three principles that they kind of challenge and have these experiences where they can't level up for success when it comes to motivation. So motivation without the hype. And that's my business. And this is what I do to serve people.
Okay. Motivation without the hype.
Yes.
This is big because any of us who have done any type of personal development work, and let me just clarify that, because everybody's journey is different, but
Yes.
A lot of us have sort of funneled through the rah hype, motivational seminar type of experience where it feels really exciting. It feels really good, right? When you buy the ticket or you get there, you're thinking to yourself, this is going to be it. This is going to be the thing that is going to help me overcome my obstacles and get to the next level.
Yes.
And you're sitting there and you're taking it all in, and it sounds really good and it feels really good. And then you leave and very little, if anything, has actually changed.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to share your thoughts on that.
Well, it's a really great question. And, a lot of people tend to think, I go to events, I go to seminars, but you know what? The three types of people that come to seminars and events and workshops, and you as a speaker, as a coach, the three types of people. One are the procrastinators, they procrastinate. Number two is that the thinkers. They think. Oh yeah, that's a really great insight. I'll probably take some notes. And the third type of people are the doers, those who actually make intention. And the missing element throughout all the equation is follow through. A lot of people don't follow through to what they want to put as a plan, right? And so, and that's why I'm really strong on this message, motivation without the hype, because people tend to feel great. It's awesome, but they haven't prepared themselves to put some strategies in place. And that's why I said earlier on is that you take a lot of action, but it may not be the right type of strategies. Right. And so a lot of things play into effect where, it's type of the habits that you have, the belief systems, the mindset, the environment that you're in. But with motivation, it's more than just the rah-rah, right? It's more than just the woo-woo type of things, but it's all about solid strategies. It's all about outcomes, right? And everyone's on a different journey. That's the reason why I say, trust the process and embrace the journey. Everyone wants transformation, But, I believe, that transformation doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Your breakthroughs, your successes does not happen by chance. It happens by choice. So motivation is by choice. So if those listeners who are parents, you would exactly know that if you have newborns, right, it's by choice. You have to do it, right? It's not a should, it's a must. If your baby and your child is crying to get a feed, whether you're motivated or not, you need to get up, right? So it's exactly the same thing when it comes to your why, your purpose, and everything of your whole being is what you want to tackle and achieve in life. Regardless if you're tired or not, you're driven by that desire that pulls you rather than a push. And I think this is the reason why people, give up a lot of things, is because they're just so tired. They're burnt out, is because they just do so much of the willpower rather than being drawn to that desire, that regardless if they're tired or not. That's why motivation without the hype is, hey, by the way, you can feel great. It's awesome. But at a certain point is, what are you going to do next? And that's the follow through method.
Let's talk a little bit more about that,
Yeah.
because what you just shared is, it's fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to be committed. It is a decision. It is a
Absolutely.
decision that I'm not just going to fill my mind with all of this really cool stuff and then hope that something magically falls in my lap.
Mm-hmm.
This is a part of the journey. This is one action that I'm taking,
Yes.
And there is a whole different level of commitment that
Mm-hmm.
successful business people have than those who are dabbling or
Absolutely.
tinkering or
Yes.
taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, two
Mm-hmm.
steps forward, 1 step back, or playing small, staying in the status quo. So let's talk a little bit about that follow through. Let's talk about what comes next. What does that look like?
Yeah. So this is the reason why, where, you've heard about SMART, right? Have SMART goals. But for me, I always attach the ER, not emergency room, ER. So smarter goals, right? So, you need smart, measurable, et cetera. But with the E and R, it's all about energy, it's about enthusiasm, and it's all about resiliency, right? And so for me, a lot of people don't have accountability, and they're not accountable to what they've written down. And sometimes you have your goals, your dreams, or a certain vision that you want to achieve in life, but it's all up in here, right? A goal without it being written is just a mere wish, right? You mentioned about hoping, right? It's like the three old men of life, right? Hoping, waiting, and wishing. They hope for it to get a God opportunity. They wish that it can happen to them, and they're just stagnant, right? But I'm a firm believer that we create the opportunities. And I love what Zig Ziglar quotes, and he says success occurs when opportunities meet preparation. So when you position yourself, and this is where the follow through method happens, is you've got everything at your disposal, but what happens when you achieve, or you're on the progress, right? Because pace and progress gives you those type of outcomes. But in the underlining of that follow through is structure, frameworks. What is your framework, right? And that's why a lot of people said, yeah, I'm doing okay. But what's the follow through method? How are we going to constantly improve, right? And in our lives, whether it's love, health, wealth, or happiness, there could be certain imbalances. And you probably notice as a coach of the wheel of life, right? You want to have this smooth roll, and you want to, progress, forward. But there's certain areas that we may not improve yet. And so if my financial status may not be great, and it's probably a 5 and not a 10, then what can I do to shift just from 5 to 6, right? And so we need to have this constant follow through method. Say, okay, great. Even for events, you mentioned, yeah, it's great. However, they haven't put themselves as an accountability, or whether they're talking to their line of influence, but for themselves. So for me, it's like, all right, guys, if you come to a workshop, an event in my event, 3 things that you need to do. Number 1 is list out all the things that resonates with you. Anything like, oh wow, that's a power insight for me. I'm going to write that down. So, and the second column is, okay, out of the priorities, what do I need out of the 10 is really important for me to take action? And that's when people miss out. They just do that. What they are missing in this follow through method is dates. When you put a date on it, it subconsciously, it says, oh my goodness, I've got something in the back of it's kind of itching on me. I got to take action on it. And that's what people, they don't put dates for this because they freak out. It's like, oh my goodness, can I really do this? Right. And then all these things come to play in effect. But that follow through bed is by putting a date, right? And then working backwards. What can I do now? If I've already said, okay, I'm going to accomplish this in the next 2 months, I'm going to work backwards. Okay, what do I need to do to achieve that? And the follow through method is really accountability. If you don't have accountability, whether it's in your line of influence that you're around with, your association, or with yourself, it's going to be very challenging to actually execute and achieve your goals and to live out your dreams.
So interesting what you just said about the dates and about how that really does trigger people's subconscious stuff.
Right?
Now, how many of us, and I've never really considered this before, but I'm gonna take this, okay?
Go for it.
Okay. How many of us have had some sort of etheric goal, like one of those wishy goals, those hopey goals, right? Now, we can challenge ourselves with this. If you set a date for yourself for that goal that has been a want, not a must, and you set a date for that goal, and then be extremely mindful of everything that comes up for you, every limiting belief, every but, every fear, doubt, or insecurity, every justifiable reason why it probably won't happen. And you're willing to work through all of that stuff. That is a powerful exercise in getting out of your own way.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, they are stuck in the hope. They are stuck in the wishing. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can accomplish it. That's why they don't set a target date, because that makes it too real. And then they have to confront the reality that they are the ones who are not making it happen.
Spot on. And you know why people lack motivation? 3 things. One is their reasons are not big enough to move them, right? And this is and you know, when you put goals, like there are people out there like, yeah, it's great, but that's it. Like, it's just here. Some of them even write their goals, but don't even put dates because there's no certain belief, because they're always putting their past references to say, you know, I've tried this 6 to 10 times and I'm always hitting a brick wall and I don't think I'm going to break through it. And so they don't even put a commitment because they already have put themselves in situations. That's why people lack motivation. Number one is because the reason's not big enough. Number two is because they haven't really decided. And thirdly is because they base their way of life in circumstances, right? People dictate their lives through circumstances, right? And I believe that it's your choices today that's going to determine your future and your tomorrow. And if you don't make that choice today, right now, if you're listening to Alicia's podcast, guys, I'm telling you right now, there's not just hope. You can actually will, you must, and you can definitely can, right? And it's all about changing the mindset of belief systems and then shifting yourself to abundance and then really taking the right strategies, plugging to the right people, listening to the right things to get you where you need to go, and having that association of people that you're around with, that's going to help you as well. And you're going to get there.
Love that. Love it. There's a lot of apathy in people.
Yes.
Because when we set goals for ourselves and we don't really have the foundation yet to achieve them, we do tend to take action and then fail. Yes. And when you've done that a few times, it validates your limiting beliefs. See, I knew I couldn't achieve that goal. And even though your heart is truly desiring it, which means it is possible, right? Your beliefs have convinced you it's not possible for me, as though there's something fundamentally flawed when you came out of the womb.
Yeah.
Other people can do it, but I cannot. I am an
Yes.
exception to the laws of the universe. But the mind is so good at convincing us of our limitations. And
Yes.
when you hit that wall over and over and over again, you do become very apathetic,
Yes.
where now it's almost like you know that that desire is still there.
Yes.
It's never going to go away,
Yes.
no matter how hard you try to ignore it, push it away, justify why it can't be your reality.
Mm.
But every time you feel the spark, that little bit of inspiration, your inner being calling you to go for it,
Yes.
the old conditioning is just knocking you down almost instantaneously.
Yes.
And
And it's,
so when you're seeing this happen with people, with your clients, and this happens to all of us in
mhm.
different ways. Maybe
Yes.
you're successful financially, but you're really not doing so well with your health or in
Absolutely.
relationships. So when you're seeing this with your clients, how do you help them? How do you help them to start to break through that apathy and that old conditioning that has been keeping them stuck?
Yeah. All the time, a lot of people who are very successful, who are professionals in their industry, are very successful financially. However, the relationship wise, they're probably suffering. A lot of with men and or women as well, where they're so far ahead and they're crushing their goals. However, they're leaving their family behind. And so there's a really big misalignment, and there's a lot of people who have suffering their relationships because of that strain, because the values and the goals are not aligned together. And as a partner or as a husband or wife, these are really important things that needs to be discussed and aligned as well. And you mentioned about the misalignment, whether you're very successful health wise, but then your relationships kind of suck. So, and there are two things, right? And I love how you mentioned this about about our mindset, and our subconscious mind protects us, right? Their job is to protect us. So if our belief system is, say for example, all rich people are greedy, just an example, and then you're wanting to do great things in life, but why does my subconscious mind protect me is because of that belief. Because if we see people, that's why we tend to think, oh, well, our subconscious mind is like, hey, I'm protecting you because I don't want you to become greedy. But the steps of becoming successful, so that's why you need to replace it. You need to shift it. So with the clients that go through this journey is two things. They need to have self-awareness, right? Self-awareness. When they are aware and their eyes are open, then is okay, now that I know, then we need to take responsibility, right? But if we live in victim modes for so long, it becomes accustomed to us. And that's why if you want to become a champion in life and you want to rise to the occasion and have this above the line thinking is, hey man, I know what I need to do now. I've got awareness, but you know what? I'm going to take it step by step. And that's the important part. And then you go through a journey of improvement and progress and pace. You don't want to go from 1 to 10 immediately. You want to work through it, right? Because there's certain things that and you experience with your clients. Hey, man, it's not like taking out the layers, man. We got to go through the root cause of it. And when you find their patterns and behavior and they get awareness, they get this aha moment. And as a coach, yeah, you got this. I'm not going to tell you what to do, right? But they find their answer through that self-awareness, and then to take immediate responsibility and then strategies for themselves that they're going to stop doing and start doing. Boom, they've got their breakthrough and then living life, and they're actually starting to perform at a higher level. That's why as a high performing coach, three major things that people experience as problems. One is they're unmotivated with energy. Number two is they're just frustrated with internal systems. And three, they're just inconsistent with outcomes. If we're able to reverse engineer that, then they're not only going to perform at a higher level, but they're going to have things that they do in life that gives them meaning and fulfillment.
Great concepts, powerful concepts. Now, I'm going to turn the tables a little bit.
Yes.
On you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all, myself included, I mean, I think the reason that I I have developed the level of proficiency that I have for my clients in the work that I do is because I've done so much inner work, and it is an ongoing journey. But let's be real here. We all are conditioned with things that do not support us. Even when our logical, rational mind says, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for me to believe that money, all rich people are greedy, right? But if it's in your subconscious mind, there is sometimes that blind spot there. And until we have that really clear awareness and we do what is necessary to shift and release the negative emotional charge on that belief, it does influence our actions and our outcomes. So can you share with us a little bit about your own mindset journey?
Yeah. So even before I became a coach and a speaker, I had some limiting beliefs as well. Like I didn't have any purpose at the time. Like I was living, I was a project manager at the time, many, many years back. And my way of life of thinking is, all right, I'm going to get an education, get a job, retire, and that's it. I'll get a family and have kids, etc. And that was it. I didn't have anything to get me going, no purpose, no passion, nothing at all. And I had so many limiting beliefs that says, you can't do this, you can't do that. And the people around me with me, my influence wasn't supportive at all when it comes to drink, because they're on the same boat as well. They're lost, confused. And I didn't have any confidence in myself because I didn't have any clarity, didn't have any certainty, definitely didn't influence me to have a lot more confidence. And it was not until I almost had a heart attack symptoms halfway through going to we call it in Australia, train station. In the States, they call it subway. And my heart was pulsating fast. My ankles were swollen and my heart was just beating so fast that I couldn't breathe. And I was so overweight, and life just hit me. And like, oh my goodness, I don't want to live my life like this. I have to change. I don't have it's no longer a should now. It has to be a must. I need to do this right now. And one of the things was, internally, it's like that belief in yourself, because you're so accustomed to getting knocked down and less opportunities. And, I wasn't even creating opportunities for myself, is because the environment that I was in was crucial. Like I had to change my environment for me to change my outcomes. But it was that choice and decision to say, you know what, I need to do this for myself. And I had a bad eating habit. I had for breakfast, I'll have, McDonald's, sausage, egg, muffin meal with large coffee every single morning. I'll hide myself and stuff myself and eat double the amount of intake. And it was just a lifestyle for the last couple of years. And then this thing happened to me. Then I made a choice. I said, okay, I didn't have any personal development at the time. I went to the news agency or the news store. I got a men's health magazine. I said, okay, I got to look at this. Who's got the six-pack abs? So I'm like, okay, he looks great. Cut him out. Took out my fat face and I stuck him in the door. So my fat face with this six-pack ab guy, and I didn't know it was a power of visualization. All I knew is that I had to do something to get me out of this habit, to get me to thinking and wire myself differently. And so I saw that, and within 16 weeks, I plugged into a personal trainer, nutritional coach, and I got help. And then I invested in myself. And a lot of people tend to invest a lot of other things, which is great, property, stocks, and shares. But the greatest investment that you can really give yourself is personal development, because you become an asset. When you realize who you are and what you can provide, this potential right through to profitability, that type of asset that you have as a person, man, you become unstoppable. The potential we have, and this is the reason, if you're listening right now, say to yourself, I got potential, right? I want you to say it again, I got potential. Because when you realize who you are and what you're capable of, you become unstoppable. And for me, experiencing my body transformation, from fat to fit, that's when I start to realize, oh my goodness, there's power in your mind. There's the mindset, the beliefs, the shift, and then attaching to what I'm lacking of. Say, okay, I'm lacking these couple of skills that I'm going to really refine it. Then that's when I start to take the right type of kind of action, because I had the right type of support. I invested in a coach, a life coach, and I invested myself in programs to help me develop myself. And that's where I am today. And like you said, we're constantly evolving. And yes, we do have our challenges, but that's okay. We're a human being. And if I wanted to share with someone today, this was like about 2.5 years back. And I had 5 major contracts and I did my 5 pitches. And I lost all 4 of them. One I did because I was desperate and it was really cheap. But the 4 were the major coaching contracts. And it gutted me. And this is when I found out, oh my goodness, this is when I kind of leveled up. I did everything impossible that turned into possibility. And those, limitation to become unlimited is that, we don't give ourselves permission to really feel what we're feeling. And so I got gutted. I lost a contract on that same day. People called me. It was like four PR says, Mr. Perez, I'm sorry, you weren't successful this time. And it hit me because I worked so hard. The pitching, the presentation, everything else, I worked so hard. And then all of a sudden, I've got all the things on other mini projects, initiatives that I'm working on. I lost that all in the same day. And I said, God, why me? Right. And so I was commuting back home and I looked at Sydney Harbour Bridge at the time, because that's where my clients are in the city. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself 6 days. I'm going to give myself 6 days to feel that I'm crap. And I just made a decision. So, but on the 7th day, I'm going to rise to the top. I'm going to do something different and I'm going to shift. And so many people who are professionals don't allow themselves to feel their emotions, to really be human. And they bottle themselves up for so long that they can't see a way out. And so I allowed myself to feel that I'm bad, to get these emotions out for 6 days. But on the 7th day, breakthrough happened. Got my ebook, and then I started publishing my book, 15 events at the time, a workshop. I just flipped the switch. And that's when I created a program called, Unstoppable, the 1% Life, 21 days. And then I put myself in those 21 days after the breakthrough. I said, okay, day 1, day 2. And it was just these 3 principles of mindset, skill set, and then the right type of action. And so if you're listening right now, I want to encourage you, don't give up. If you need to be human, feel the emotions, and that's okay. I want to acknowledge you that you're listening here right now, because you have your breakthrough right now by making that choice and decision today, because you are unstoppable.
So good. And I have to piggyback on that real quick.
Yes, please.
Because this is one of the foundational things I work with my clients on, is repressing emotions. This is a learned behavior. Now, if you think of, and I have a young daughter, so I've experienced this recently. So this was a couple months ago, and she's playing at the park and she's running around, and she falls on the rock and she gets a cut on her knee. And it hurts, and she's scared and she's crying. The natural process that we go through is to let those emotions flow. 2 minutes later, she's running around, cut on her knee or not. Sure, it still hurts a little bit, but she's just as happy as can be. She's over it. Right?
Yeah.
Now, when we are going through childhood and life, right? We are taught that we're not supposed to feel certain ways. It makes other people uncomfortable, or it's inappropriate in certain circumstances. And while some of that has an element of truth to it, what ends up happening is we start to internalize this as, I'm not supposed to feel angry. I'm not supposed to feel sad. I'm not supposed to cry. And in our culture right now, with this whole big like personal development movement, and even a lot of the people that are out teaching law of attraction and things like that, the part that gets misconstrued is that negative feelings are bad. So literally people are they feel a fear, or they feel a negativity, and they immediately repress. But here's the thing. that is, you're not releasing it then. Like that example that I just used of my daughter, she released it. That's why it was gone. That's why it did not create trauma later in life. When those things come up, and oftentimes it's our old stuff, things that we've repressed over and over and over and over again in the past, those become destructive patterns in our subconscious programming. And we have to retrain ourselves how to release and let it go. And there are healthy ways to do it. A lot of people I've noticed, they're afraid. They think that releasing means that they're going to turn into an emotional basket case, when nothing could be further from the truth. Because if you think about it, when you're releasing your emotions in a healthy way, healthy, notice I said healthy, the natural release, that natural flowing of those emotions, it doesn't usually involve angry outbursts. Or if it does, there might be some anger, it comes up, you release, you let it go. Now, here's what happens when you don't release it. And so many of us, I know we're all guilty of it to varying degrees. Some people far worse than others, right?
I'm seeing it coming.
You feel the frustration, you feel the anger, you feel the negativity, you repress. And then what happens? Your spouse, your kids, somebody says something. And now you've got all that bottled up negative energy that you've been trying to push away, trying to repress, trying to talk yourself out of, trying to positive talk yourself into believing is not there. And now the simplest little thing, an innocent comment, sets you off, and you vomit your negative energy all over. That is not healthy.
Absolutely. I think you just have to acknowledge it, like everyone has their own way of dealing with things. And, people try to go over it, but they're not prepared to go through it. Right. And that's a really major distinction, where they go over it, but they don't want to touch it. They don't want to they just want to just blindside it. But going through the process and really embracing the journey and acknowledging it, you will get your breakthrough, right? And it's in doing it the healthy way. And I love how you put that, forward. Yes, the healthy way. And it's through acknowledging it and not really suppressing it, but really releasing it. Great. I love that. Love that insight.
This has been a fantastic conversation, and I want to make sure our listeners know how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah. So, I have a motivation app. It's called Gez Perez Thrive. It's available on the Apple Store and Google Play, free download. And it's got all my content, inspiration, both video and audio. And I got a couple of links as well, for free resources that you can access right now to actually help you level up through your mindset, skill set, and really scale at success. So yeah, we can provide out all the links on the show notes as well. And you can find me there. So Gez Perez Thrive on Apple Store or in the Google Play, or jezperez.com, and happy to serve you and add value into your life as well.
And I know you will.
Yeah. This was so cool. This is so fun.
So as we are rounding out this episode, I just want to give you a moment to share with us any final parting thoughts.
You are destined for greatness. That's my parting words. And I want you to tell yourself with affirmation, and I can see it right there behind Alicia's desk, is I can, I will, and I must. So if you're listening to this, I want you to have that self-belief that you're destined for greatness. And by the way, great things does not happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you're out of your comfort zone.
This has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Gez.
Thank you, Alicia. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
And thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for another amazing episode. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you do so. You don't want to miss any of this stuff. It's too damn good.
Yep.
So thank you, everyone. And until next time, we'll see you on the next episode.
Okay. Bye.